Is it possible to raise your children outside of the matrix? Can you actually get them off the system? In my honest opinion, yes and no. When I'm in the matrix, what I'm talking about is the capitalistic, patriarchal slave system that's actually designed to keep humans trapped and is a reality that is driven by fear to make humans just feel like they have to survive rather than thrive. So in my last video, I shared how I'm currently getting out of the matrix for my family, and you're going to want to watch that one first before you watch this one. So go back and watch this one and then come back to this one. So first, I want to go a little bit deep on this and explain why mothers choose to go down a path that is outside of the matrix, why we choose to go outside of the system, that we don't want our children in the matrix slave system. So what I'm going to say does apply to men. Men can go through this as well, but it's mainly women, because women go through actual physical changes when she goes through that rite of passage, she births her baby. Physical changes actually occur. So the first thing that actually occurs is the physical change of the brain. The grey matter in certain particular parts of the brain actually shrinks. And I'm no neuroscientist or anything like that, so I can't give you the exact, names for these parts of the brains. But I'm going to share with you a little article I found on my laptop that helps to kind of describe what actually change goes on when a mother is pregnant and can last up to about 2 years postpartum. So here on this, it was just a random website called The Atlantic, but I found it was really helpful. After centuries of observing behavioural changes in new mothers, scientists are only recently beginning to definitively link the way a woman acts with what's happening in her prefrontal cortex, midbrain, and parietal lobes. I think that says. I'm not good at reading out loud. And elsewhere, grey matter becomes more concentrated. Activity increases in regions that control empathy, anxiety, and social interactions. That is the key thing here that we want to focus on. So on the most basic level, these changes, prompted by the flood of hormones during pregnancy and in the postpartum period, help attract new mothers to her baby. In other words, the maternal feelings of overwhelming love, fierce protectiveness, and constant worry begin with reactions in the brain. So there's a physical change that occurs when a mother has her baby, even when the baby is in the womb still. This physiological change occurs that tells the body, the mother, to put all her energy into empathy, love, connection. And then what happens here, the brain forgets to do other things because we are now putting all our energy into keeping that human alive. And this is where you may have heard the term like baby brain, pregnancy brain, mum brain, and we kind of just dismiss it as something that, oh, that's just silly mum brain, but it's a real thing. And because the way a mother's brain now thinks and changes, she's going to focus more on empathy and ethical things for her child. She wants the best. She wants to protect her child. So now how she views things is going to be altered. So what also this means now, because she is now wanting to protect her child, thinking in different ways because the brain changes. She is wanting more ethical things for her child. She's not wanting to put her child through things that maybe she went through as a child. She can see the world in a different perspective. There's a whole new light that's been shed on the world. For example, a mother may choose, she just wants organic clothing for her child. She may want homegrown vegetables for her child because she doesn't want to put all that crap chemicals into her baby. So this can also affect how a mother sees the world financially. So how she wants to make money will change. How she wants to be the provider for her children will change. And this is where you usually see like stay-at-home mums doing MLM things, and some mums like want to be content creators, ding ding me, because they know they want to stay at home with their children. They want to have that time with their children. They want to raise their children rather than being dragged into this slave 9-to-5 matrix system. They want that time with their children, but they need the financial stability. So often we kind of pick up all these different things that could potentially make us money, like affiliate marketing, all these different things. So basically the mother wants to provide for her child in the way that she didn't before, because she just feels that's maybe not sustainable for her and her family. So everything just changes. It's like a big wake-up call, because what the mother wants valued financially, emotionally, like ethically, what she wants valued has now completely changed. And then you realise, children being in the system, you really never have control over what goes in your children's bodies and what they eat, what happens in the school system, what they're consuming mentally and like physically with their food. So basically, a woman gets shaken to the core when she births her baby. She kind of gets woken up, and then what happens when you start to look at the world differently because you just want better things for your child? You'll start to kind of go down all these rabbit holes and like look into all these different things, and then you're like, whoa, we are in a system that keeps us trapped. Like, woohoo, everybody wake up and smell the coffee or whatever it's called. I don't know if I said that right then, but we want the best for our children, and I believe every mother is like this. She does have that innate desire, that natural desire to do things that are radically different, that comes from her heart. But we are so in fear, because that's what the matrix system does, is keep us dumbed down, unhealthy, and in fear, that she just slips back into the matrix and follows the crowd, because she's worried about what other people might think if she even just simply like bed shares with her child. Like, I bed share with my 2.5-year-old. Do you think I care what other people think? No, I fucking don't. Like, that's their issue. It's not your issue to care what other people think. And this is the thing. And deep down we have these values that are so aligned what our higher selves want for us, but our ego, the old beliefs, the old identity will be like, come on, back here. Come on, keep you small, keep you safe, follow the crowd. I like to think sometimes there's the ego of that cat of a big mouth, where it like, I think the girl is like depressed, the teenage girl, the one with the red hair. I don't know the characters. I don't really even watch it anymore. But, and it keeps her like snugly warm, going, come back here. Come back here. And that's the ego. It wants to keep you safe, small, and think, just in my comfort zone, I'll stay here. But then the higher self is like, poof, no, come on, go for it. I want the best for you. And we just need to take that leap of faith sometimes and really just stop giving a fuck what other people think about how we want to raise our children. It's none of their fucking goddamn business at the end of the day. Like, that's just them projecting all their fears, their own aspects of themselves they don't like. They're just fucking jealous that you have the confidence to get out of the matrix. Rather than thinking, you're putting me down, that I'm in the matrix and I'm raising my children this way. No, that's just your own fucking unhealed shit, your beliefs and stuff. Like, come on. Anyway, I went off a little bit tangent then, I think. I got a bit carried away. Yeah, let's get back on it. So why am I actually saying this? Why am I not just going on to like, well, how do you raise your children out of the side of the matrix? Is it really possible? Can you do it? Can you get them out of the systems? And I wanted to share this because I had to give context of what really occurs, why we choose to go down that path. So what are some of the values you can actually do that can progressively take you towards stepping outside of the matrix, stretch you a little bit if you are feeling that fear. These are just some small steps that can make you like radically change how society views motherhood and views your parenting styles. So one things you can do is home growing your food. This is a skill that all children must learn, in my opinion, and because you are home growing your food and children are involved in that, they're more likely to eat your food. So it's a win-win. So you get the nice healthy nutritious organic food, and your child is actually eating the vegetable rather than the plain old pasta or cracker or yogurt or biscuit, which sounds like my son at the moment. They're actually getting that homegrown food. And other little simple things can be just like extended breastfeeding, like bed sharing. These are actually normal in other countries, but in Western society we're told we're like babying our child because heavens forbid they might end up in jail or have less life opportunities because you shared a bed with them or you breastfed them till they were 3 or 4. It actually, the studies that show the opposite, because the child has a secure attachment to you because you've done all these other things. There's nothing wrong with bed sharing. My son's 2.5, I bed share. Do you think I give a fuck what other people think? No, that's their fucking problem if they have an issue with me bed sharing. Do you think he's gonna be 16 years old spooning me or something in the bed? No, he's not going to be doing that. He's going to want to be out and his mates probably getting drunk or something. Well, at least that's what I did when I was 16 anyway. But that's besides the point. People project their own fears and their own bullshit onto you, and it's not fucking true. Sorry, I got to get this off my chest. Sometimes you just got to get off your chest. And when you begin to stretch yourself and do things that are a little bit radically different and push you out of your comfort zone, things you've always wanted to do as a mother and raise your child in a certain way, you'll begin to help take those leaps of faith to homeschooling, homesteading and free birthing, because some of these things can bring up a lot of fear and resistance in us because it is not seen as normal. And when these things do begin to get seen as normal, then we won't need to do anything that's different because it's just normal. And it'll be more accepting then. And the more people do it, the more people take that leap of faith and do it their own way, not this fear fucking driven matrix bullshit that society says, oh, you have to do all this for your child. It's no, stop. Goodness sake, here's the big question. Is it possible to raise your children outside of the matrix? Can you actually get them off the system? In my honest opinion, yes and no. Hear me out. The reason I think yes, because you can make that radical change to have a say over what the heck goes in your child's body and how you want to raise them, not how society or a system dictates. But there are certain systems that are in place that will block you from completely taking them out of the matrix system. So this could be you have to register with some kind of governing body, or there's some laws, or there's some kind of rules maybe in your country to say oh, you have to register on this to homeschool, you have to be monitored, tracked, or something like that. I don't really know. My son's 2.5, so I don't really know much about homeschooling, but I know here in the UK they're bringing in a new bill. I can't remember what it's called. It's literally gone out of my head. I did know what it was called, and it's not a good bill, actually. It's to put like tighter restrictions on like education, school reform bill or something like that. And it puts tighter restrictions on homeschooling. You'll have to like register with certain things and pass some tests. I don't really know. I believe you can have that informed decision of how you want to raise your children, whether that's homeschooling, homesteading, whatever it is you want to do. It's about researching and having that informed decision. And we are never really fully informed because those that be and the Matrix all want to keep you dumbed down. So you will never really truly have like informed decision unless you go down rabbit holes and do your own research, which takes a lot of time, which I highly recommend you do anyway. And when I say yes and no, can you raise your child out of the system? When I say no, it kind of comes to like medical care, I think, because things like childhood illnesses and like being unwell, it's okay to have a temperature. Use like holistic medicines and stuff like that because a temperature is a good thing. It kind of like, it's the body's natural reaction to get rid of the virus and stuff. But when it comes to things like accidents or like emergencies, like broken bones or like emergency, like life-threatening situations, you're gonna have to go to the hospital or like the dentist if you like have like severe tooth decay or something. And when you go to the hospital, you're going to have to be kind of put on some like system to say that you've attended. And then if you're in a country that uses like medical insurance, you're going to have to kind of have that, I assume. I'm not really sure because here in the UK we have the NHS. God bless the NHS. Like, oh, everything is free. Oh, thank God. But not always. I want to put it out there. They're pushing it. So we do go private. You kind of have to go through another thing then of the insurance stuff. So you're on another system. So you can't really fully get out of that. And I do think that is important. Like if my son did break his leg, of course he's going to have to go to the hospital. I'm pretty sure any sane mum, even if you're living off grid, you would have to take your child to the hospital if something like that happened. Because of these kind of like accidents and emergencies, you can't really fully get out of the system because you kind of rely on that to like, for like emergency purposes. So next, the other thing that can like really hinder the chances of your child really being off grid is your child has their own free will. You cannot control your child. Your child can make decisions for themselves. And when they become of a certain age, they may begin to question their identity, question their lifestyle, question maybe you're living off grid, and question why have they not got like a circle of friends like somebody might have at the school. And that's not to say homeschooling you don't have friends and stuff, because there's like communities you can build around homeschooling. So they might have all these kind of questions and have their own values by this point, especially when a child becomes a teenager, because they want to live their own life. They kind of want to go through this kind of initiation, this warrior's initiation, especially if it's a boy. I'm thinking in terms of like my son. It makes them no longer want to be attached to you in a certain way. So they want to go off and explore and find out what the world's like for themselves. And so there's only so much you can control and say and do. And if it is their soul's path to get caught up in the matrix, caught up in social media, caught up in peer pressure, then that's the path for them. It's really hard to accept because you want your child to be fully awake and out the system, but sometimes they have their own evolution. However, with all this being said, you simply cannot just go, yeah, I'm out the matrix. Like, you can make that decision today without a doubt. That's what I did. I made that conscious decision that I would never, ever, ever go back into the 9-to-5 slave system. And that's what you can do. But along that road, there's going to be ups and downs, fear, dust is going to kick up about your beliefs, your worthiness. Am I good enough to do this? Everything you have is within you. Everything you need is within you. when you begin to change your belief system, heal those wounds, deprogram yourself from the matrix, then that's when you'll be able to really escape the matrix without fear, without judgment. My next video is going to be all about how you can do that, practical steps you can take to deprogram yourself, to heal those wounds that make you feel like you're not worthy. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification, because it's the bell notification that will tell you when that video comes out. So you're not going to want to miss that video, because it's going to be jam-packed, full of value and good practical steps you can take to heal the matrix from within. But until then, if you want some help with boundaries, feeling empowered, watch one of these 2 videos, and I will see you on the next video. Much love.